Well, I'm back. I've got the funk shirt on, and what have I learned? People love Prince. And people love Prince's guitar mastery. And people love Bambi. So that's what we're going to do today. Well, you know that. You clicked on the bloody thing. Anyway, I've still got Grant's guitar, so let's give it a whirl. First things first, you're all playing it wrong. Prince wasn't doing this. He's not going from D sharp to E like that. He's doing these ones. In fact, he's playing it like that. Prince did a lot of thumb over the top of the neck action. At least half the time. He sort of oscillates back and forth between and... So like in the intro, it's really hard to hear the very first one. It's very muffled, but the second one is definitely like that. The third one is definitely just like that. And then the fourth one, just before the whole band comes in, is that again. Such a great tune. Now, this song, it was off his second album. Prince plays every instrument on it. Drums and everything, and it's a mind blower. Why was he 19 or something? It was in like the late 70s. He's playing everything, writing, playing everything. I'm like getting towards 3 times his age, and I still can't do it. But it's got that super fuzzed out sound. He's got lots of distortion on there, and he does a lot of Hendrixy bends where he's bending one note up to sound like the other string. He's got the rakes. There's definitely rock influence going on. But the feel is still funky. He's playing that slap bass on those super light strings. Incredible bass line. But one of the things I really love about it is this lick here that he plays in the main riff. So he's in E, C sharp minor and E, but then as a fill, or a part of the riff I guess, sliding from a G power chord, a G5, into a G sharp. So what that is, it's not really a G to G sharp. If you play I call them power chords, that's what they were called when I was a kid. If you play a 5 chord or a no third or whatever you want to call it in the right spot, it can be another chord. So E, so I've got E, B, E, that's just an E5. But if my bass player is playing E and I'm playing G sharp, I've now got an E major 7. If we turn the distortion off that for a moment, a sweet sounding chord. So that's what he's doing. He's playing this hard rock sounding, distorted, nasty song about this girl that he can't pick up because of her sexuality. She's burned him and he's pleading and he's rocking out, and then this lilting, but it doesn't sound lilting, but it's incredible. I love that little touch that he's got in there. And I never noticed until working it out to put this together that the bass does the same thing but on the E chord. So you've actually got a full E major 7 like... Oh man, that's beautiful. One other little thing that I love about it is after that first solo... At the end of that, where the band goes E, F sharp, the lead guitar does the F sharp both times. E, F sharp, it's just one of those moments where you go, this guy's making up his own chords. Anyway, the main riff, C sharp minor 7. The first time he plays it, it sounds like, I'm pretty confident it's just those 3 notes. C sharp, B and E, all on the 9th fret. So then I've got the 6 and 9, which is the B over D to an E5. Slide down to an E power chord down here, E5 chord down the bottom end of the neck. That lick is in your C sharp minor pentatonic, hammering from the 9th to the 11th, giving it a lot of vibrato. So pull off to the 9th, hammer to the 11th on the D string. Then the second time, instead of doing the C sharp minor like that, he's playing it like this. So thumb on the 9th fret, 3rd finger on the 11th fret. So I've got that shape there, and then you can hear those bottom 2 strings and the others are muted. Then he presumably moved up like that, but he gives those a bit of vibrato as well. Down to the E again. Our little G to G sharp sliding. Then the third time, instead of doing this C sharp minor or this C sharp minor, it's so playing the root note, the 9th fret, E note on the 9th fret of the G string. Now that one sounds like this. That time, same as the first lick, but this time he bends a whole step at the end from the 11th fret on the G string. Then that one again. Then an E, then an F sharp. That brings us to the lead motif of the song. 12th fret, 1st finger on the E string, and bending the D note, the 15th fret on the B string. Play those both together and bend the B string till it sounds like the E string. Then we do a rake, so just muting the strings. So we change position down to the 9th to play like a C sharp minor lick, but rake across the muted strings to hit that 12th fret note. So 12, 11, 9, hammer back to the 11, back to pull off to the 9, bend the 12th fret on the B string up a full tone. And heaps of vibrato, really quick vibrato, Angus Young style vibrato. Yeah, that's all that lick is. It's the same each time. So let's get to the guitar solo. Incredible guitar solo from a 19-year-old kid, from anyone. So it starts in C sharp minor pentatonic. So we're doing a little figure from the 9th fret on the D string to the 11th fret on the D string to the 9th fret on the G string. It's a group of 3s. The song's in 4. He's playing 16th notes, but they're drifting across the beat because it's 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then at the end of that phrase, he goes to 11, 11 on G and B, and then he just quickly picks the open D string, which is way out of key. It becomes a percussive element. It's just a part of the riff that flips by and you don't even really notice. Until I listened close, I thought he was going, but he's actually got 2 open D strings, and it sounds terrible when you hear it like that, slowed down and emphasized, but yeah, they're definitely in there. And then he does more unison bends. First finger on the 9th fret of the B string, and 3rd finger on the 11th fret of the G string. Move up to the 13th fret of the G string and give it a 3 semitone bend, so a whole and a half step, bending that G sharp note up to sound like a B note with lots of wild, spooky sound of vibrato on it. Gives that 3 picks, 3 bends. Then he's into another little motif, which is bending the 14th fret of the E string, release, pull off to the 12th fret, and then 14th on the B string. Does 2 quicker, and then a big slide up to the next lick. So he does another step and a half bend at this bit, bending from the 16th fret to sound like the 19th. Then a gradual release, picks it 3 times as he releases, and then picks chromatically 16, 15, 14, all on the E string. I was a bit sloppy on that in my take earlier. The rest of it was going okay, so bad luck. You've got to hear my sloppiness in there. After that, this is a very cool and tricky bit. So he moves back to the 12th position again, first finger, 12, 14 on the E string, little bend, release, back. So these are like sextuplets, 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down to the 14th fret on the B string. Does the same thing again, but this time ends on the 11th fret of the B string. And then does this really tricky run. Slowed down, it sounds like this. So I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to take this opportunity to explain how I learn stuff that's tricky for me. This is something I spend a lot of time telling my students. It's not a secret because I tell everyone, but it's how I learn challenging passages like this one. So what I do first is I write it out very carefully. I use soulless.com to transcribe things, and I write it out as carefully as I can. If I hear a muted string note, I want it in there because I want the thing to be absolutely as correct as I can get it. So that's step 1. But then, the phrase can go missing in amongst all that nuance. So what I do then is I copy and paste the tricky bit and I simplify it. I think, what was the phrase that he was going for here? And I write that out. And then I've got a phrase I can learn and memorize and work on. And then I can reintroduce all that nuance. So with this one, I reckon what Prince was sort of going for was sextuplets again. So it's still tricky even like that at the speed that he plays it. So we're starting on the E string, 14, 12, 14, 12 on the B string, 13, 12, 11, but slight bend. Then release it and pick it again at the 11th fret. Back to the 9th. I think that's just a slide back to that one. Then 11 and 9 on the D string, 11 on the A string, and back to the E note, the 9th fret on the G string. So really slowly. So if you listen to that as triplets, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the simplified version. So what I took out of it is this note. So it sounds like he... Yeah, I reckon that note's in there. And I can also hear a hint of the exact same thing on the next string, which is probably just because he's changing position to get back to the 13th fret from the 14th. Anyway, so back to the story. So So I've written it out in detail, I've simplified it. Then what I do is slow it down to a pace that I could not possibly make a mistake. And I put repeat signs on it. 20. I always work with 20. I don't know why. It's just a number. I tell all my students, do it 20 times. So I press play and I play along with it. I put the metronome on and I play along with it. And it forces me to do it 20 times at a speed like... And the thing about doing it over and over and over at a stupidly slow speed is that you can tell your body, this is easy. I'm relaxed. I feel good. This isn't hard. I know what I'm doing. There's a lot of self-talk that I have to do to get my fingers over the line to play some of these things up to speed. I'm just not a fast guitarist. And I do that until it's second nature. So I'll do it 20 times. And if I don't have to go and do something else or teach or whatever, I'll hit play again. I'll do it another 20 times. Most of us spend ages getting something at one tempo and going, okay, I nailed it. I'll step the tempo up a bit. I'll do it more. But what we end up doing is playing on the edge of our ability all the time. Well, that's what I always did. And I was like, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is hard. Oh, I nearly got it. Oh, I spent my whole life going, I nearly got it. What I've realised I need to do is play at a tempo over and over and over so that I can get the pattern ingrained and the relaxed feeling ingrained, that I'm just asking for those notes and I'm making smaller pick movements. I'm not digging in trying to get the speed up and using too much muscle strength and that sort of thing. Yeah, so I find that if I do that, usually for a couple of days in a row, if it's a tricky bit, in my spare moments, duck into my office here and do it another 20 times, then I can just crank it up to full speed and play it. So all those years of trying to creep things up to full speed didn't work. This works. Anyway, all right. So that's the run. And then when I've got it like that, I do it with the extra notes in. I think I got one of them in the performance before, but it'll get better over time. So after that, he does this crazy, bends a full step, but it's like with really wild vibrato. Creeping up fret by fret, 11th, 12th, 13th, then steps up the pace a little bit as well to like dotted eighth notes. And it sounds like, the vibrato is so wild at this point. It sounds like 14th fret, 16th and 19th. Then, the next bit, you need a 24 fret guitar, which I don't believe Prince had. I reckon he did what I did there, which is reached over the top. Maybe didn't reach over the top. But anyway, fretted on the pickup. But the reason I did it reaching over the top is because I noticed that there's a bit of string noise and a bit of a gap in the performance right before and afterwards, which makes me think he was adjusting something somehow. So, and the other thing is, if you just hold it on the pickup, it's really hard to get the bend to go upwards. It sounds like it's always going down, which if I play it like this and use my little finger to, that sounds a bit more like what we can hear on the recording. Anyway, I could be wrong, but that's how I reckon he did that crazy couple of bars of super high notes. Then he's got that awesome run at the end after he gets his hand back around the right side of the neck. So that run is 9th fret, the E note on the G string, on the D string, 11, 9, 11, 9, then down the like blues scale, 11, 10, 9, 7, then he goes to the F note, which isn't in key either, because this is C sharp minor for the whole song. This is the first F note we've heard in the entire song, and we're just almost on the fade out. So after that F note, that 8th fret, 11, then 9, 10, 11 on the D string. So that phrase is like 3, 4, 1. And that's how he does it. that's how I do it. All right. I hope you played along, and I hope you got some fun out of it. Let's keep those Prince requests coming. Lots of people asked for Bambi. Sorry, I should have some names prepared, but never mind. But actually, an old friend of mine, Frank Berend, we grew up playing guitar together and recently reconnected, and he reminded me of this song when I did one of my first Prince clips. So thanks, Frank. All right, give me a like, give me a comment. Please subscribe, and if you do, ding ding on the old bell. And I'll see you in a week or a day or so.